Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I'm Anuja Kumar, and with me is Ramya with the Midday News. The headlines. Nation pays homage to the unifier of the country, Sardar Patel, on his 146th birth anniversary. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says, inspired by the Iron Man Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, India has become fully capable of facing all kinds of internal or external challenges. Home Minister Amit Shah addresses Rashtriya Ekta Divas function in Kevadia, says citizens should work for the unity, integrity and prosperity of the country by walking the path of Sardar Patel. CDS General Bipin Rawat to deliver Sardar Patel Memorial Lecture on All India Radio at 9:30 p.m. tonight. Prime Minister to attend the second session of G20 Summit on Climate Change today, to also hold bilateral meetings with Prime Minister of Spain and the German Chancellor. COP26 Climate Change Summit gets underway in Scotland's Glasgow. Commerce Minister and India's G20 Sherpa Piyush Goyal says India is fulfilling its commitment on climate change. India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage crosses 106 crore mark. Recovery rate stands at 98.20%. And in ICC Men's T20 Cricket World Cup, India to take on New Zealand in Dubai in the evening, Afghanistan to face Namibia in Abu Dhabi. As India created history by administering 100 crore vaccine doses against COVID-19, All India Radio salutes all the doctors, nurses, other frontline workers and all those who got vaccinated and made this possible. Even though the country has achieved this feat, we caution our listeners that the battle against COVID is not yet over. We appeal to our listeners to get fully vaccinated at the earliest and also help others get vaccinated. During the festival season, please follow these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact National Helpline numbers 01123978046 and 1075. And now, the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today paid tributes to the Iron Man Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel on his birth anniversary. In his video message on the occasion, Mr. Modi said that with the inspiration of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, India has become fully capable of facing all kinds of challenges, whether external or internal. He said India is not just a geographical unit, but it is a nation full of lofty ideals, concepts, civilization and culture.
आजाद भारत के निर्माण में सबका प्रयास जितना तब प्रासंगिक था, उससे कहीं अधिक आजादी के इस अमृत काल में होने वाला है। आजादी का ये अमृत काल विकास की अभूतपूर्व गति का है, कठिन लक्ष्यों को हासिल करने का है। ये अमृत काल सरदार साहब के सपनों के भारत के नवनिर्माण का है। साथियों, सरदार साहब हमारे देश को एक शरीर के रूप में देखते थे, एक जीवंत इकाई के रूप में देखते थे। इसलिए उनके एक भारत का मतलब ये भी था कि जिसमें हर किसी के लिए एक समान अवसर हो, एक समान सपने देखने का अधिकार हो।
He said, the land where 135 crore Indians live is an integral part of our soul, dreams and aspirations. Mr. Modi said, strong foundation of democracy that developed in the society prospered the sense of Ek Bharat, Shresth Bharat.
आज जब हम एक भारत की बात करते हैं, तो उस एक भारत का स्वरूप क्या होना चाहिए? उस एक भारत का स्वरूप होना चाहिए एक ऐसा भारत जिसकी महिलाओं के पास एक से अनेक अवसर हो, एक ऐसा भारत जहां दलित, वंचित, आदिवासी, वनवासी, देश का प्रत्येक नागरिक खुद को एक समान महसूस करे, एक ऐसा भारत जहां पर बिजली, पानी जैसी सुविधाओं में भेदभाव नहीं, एक समान अधिकार हो।
The Prime Minister said Sardar Patel always wanted India to be strong, inclusive, sensitive, alert, polite and developed. The Prime Minister said Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel always gave importance to nation's interest. He said Sardar Patel lives not only in our history but also in the hearts of all Indians. Referring to the steps taken to strengthen the country in the last 7 years, the Prime Minister informed that the country got rid of unnecessary old laws, strengthened the ideals of unity and emphasized on connectivity and infrastructure. He said strengthening the feeling of Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat, a Mahayagya of social, economic and constitutional integration is going on. He said this Azadi Ka Amrit Kal is of unprecedented growth, achieving difficult goals and building the India of Sardar Patel's dreams.
जब हम बाजार में खरीदारी करते हैं तो अपनी पसंद नापसंद के साथ साथ ये भी देखें कि क्या हम उससे आत्मनिर्भर भारत में सहयोग कर रहे हैं या हम उससे उल्टा कर रहे हैं। भारत की इंडस्ट्री भी विदेशी रॉ मटेरियल या कंपोनेंट्स पर निर्भरता के लक्ष्य तय कर सकती है। हमारे किसान भी देश की आवश्यकताओं के अनुसार नई खेती और नई फसलों को अपनाकर आत्मनिर्भर भारत में भागीदारी मजबूत कर सकते हैं।
The Prime Minister reiterated the power of Sabka Prayas in the fight against Corona, where new COVID hospitals, essential medicines, 100 crore doses of vaccines were made possible due to collective efforts of every citizen. Referring to the recently launched PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan to harness the collective power of government departments, Mr. Modi said that if, along with the government, people's Gati Shakti is also leveraged, nothing is impossible. He gave the example of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan and said that the government has made people's participation into nation's strength.
The nation pays homage to the unifier of modern India, Iron Man Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, on his 146th birth anniversary today. The day is also celebrated as Rashtriya Ekta Divas. Let us listen to one of his speeches where he is talking about the importance of unity in the country.
हमारा कर्तव्य ये है कि हमें निश्चय कर लेना चाहिए कि हमें हिंदुस्तान में जितने लोग हैं सबको मिल के भाई भाई की तरह के रहना है और एक दूसरे के साथ गुरका गुरकी करने से कोई काम नहीं होगा और इस तरह से नहीं करना चाहिए। कोई भी कौम हो, हिंदू हो, मुसलमान हो, सिख हो, पारसी हो, ईसाई हो, सबको यही समझना चाहिए कि ये हमारा मुल्क है। हमें निश्चय करना चाहिए, जितना हो सके हमसे इतना कोशिश करके आपस में मिलजुल के रहने की कोशिश करें।
President Ramnath Kovind paid floral tributes to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel at his statue at Patel Chowk in the national capital.
Union Home Minister Shah has said the citizens should work for the unity, integrity and prosperity of the country by walking the path of Sardar Patel. The minister said this at the Rashtriya Ekta Divas function held at the Statue of Unity, the world's tallest statue of Sardar Patel at Kevadia in Gujarat today. Speaking on this occasion, Mr. Shah has said that Iron Man of India Sardar Patel is the source of our inspiration. He said that today is the day to take oath for the unity and prosperity of the country by walking on the path of Sardar Patel.
मित्रों, ये केवड़िया कोई एक जगह का नाम नहीं है, एक तीर्थ स्थान बन गया है। राष्ट्रीय एकात्मता का तीर्थ स्थान, राष्ट्र धर्म का तीर्थ स्थान, देशभक्ति का तीर्थ स्थल और आज ये आसमान को छूने वाली सरदार साहब की मूर्ति पूरी दुनिया को संदेश दे रही है कि भारत का भविष्य उज्जवल है। भारत की एकता और अखंडता को कोई क्षत विक्षत नहीं कर सकता।
He said that the Statue of Unity, the world's tallest statue built by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, is the symbol of ideals of justice. The Statue of Unity also reminds us to work for farmers, poor and marginalized class by giving them equal rights and life with dignity. Mr. Shah said that Sardar Patel was the pioneer in cooperative movement in the country and thus making the farmers strong against the British rule during the freedom struggle. He said that Sardar Patel never hesitated taking bold steps. India's unity and integrity is the result of Sardar Patel's work and vision. Mr. Shah said that resolution taken by every Indian will help in rebuilding the country of Sardar Patel. He appealed to the people to take resolution and celebrate the year as the year of resolution.
Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur has paid tributes to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel on his birth anniversary and extended his best wishes on Rashtriya Ekta Divas. In a tweet, Mr. Thakur said that the contribution of Sardar Patel to keep the unity and integrity of the nation intact and the integration of the country is unforgettable and inspiring for generations.
India. Fascinating country, isn't it? Whereas so many other nations defined by their homogeneity, India's heartbeat is its diversity. Diversity of language, food, clothes, religion, culture, and interests. It's said that in every 20 kilometers in India, you almost hear a new dialect or a new language. But what is it that connects Lakshmi from Bhopal to Arki from Meghalaya? The answer is simple. A collective emotion of togetherness, an emotion that makes us Indian. The answer is how we came together, a nation of 1.3 billion people, and battled COVID-19. The answer is in our collective effort and pride in observing Dawai Bhi, Kadhai Bhi across states, cultures, and individual identities, taking the nation to greater heights. When Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat, the idea was to celebrate this unshakable unity and diversity and pay respects to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, a glorious symbol of unity. Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat provides us that opportunity to explore, learn, and immerse ourselves in exceptionally diverse and exhilaratingly rich heritage and culture, customs and traditions of other states in India. From Kashmir to Kerala and from Nagaland to Nagpur, one unifying heartbeat connects it all. So come, let's unite for Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat.
All India Radio's prestigious annual Sardar Patel Memorial Lecture is being delivered this year by India's Chief of Defence Staff, General Bipin Rawat. CDS General Bipin Rawat is to talk about role of Indian Armed Forces in nation building. The lecture will be broadcast on the occasion of Sardar Patel's birth anniversary today across All India Radio Network at 9:30 p.m. The visual version of the lecture will be telecast on DD National at 10 p.m. Let us listen to an excerpt from the lecture.
Strong and well-trained armed forces provide a credible deterrence to our potential adversaries. If this is achieved, developmental activities and nation building can be progressed without external hindrance. Territorial ambition of China and Pakistan require India's armed forces to remain alert and deployed along disputed borders and also along the coastal region around the year. It was his vision that he sent the newly formed Indian Navy to Lakshadweep to consolidate our territory, as Pakistan had plans to occupy the strategic islands sitting astride the important sea lanes of communication in the Indian Ocean and the Arabian Sea in particular.
Sardar Patel Memorial Lecture has been an annual tradition of All India Radio since 1955, wherein famous leaders, thinkers and opinion makers present their views on select topics in front of an invited audience. The collection of all Sardar Patel Memorial Lectures delivered by eminent personalities since 1955 is available on Prasar Bharati Archives YouTube channel.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Nation pays homage to the unifier of the country, Sardar Patel, on his 146th birth anniversary. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says, inspired by the Iron Man, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, India has become fully capable of facing all kinds of internal or external challenges. Home Minister Amit Shah addresses Rashtriya Ekta Divas function in Kevadia, says citizens should work for the unity, integrity and prosperity of the country by walking the path of Sardar Patel. CDS General Bipin Rawat to deliver Sardar Patel Memorial Lecture on All India Radio at 9:30 p.m. tonight. Prime Minister to attend the second session of G20 Summit on Climate Change today, to also hold bilateral meetings with the Prime Minister of Spain and the German Chancellor. COP26 Climate Change Summit gets underway in Scotland's Glasgow. Commerce Minister and India's G20 Sherpa, Piyush Goyal, says India is fulfilling its commitment on climate change. India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage crosses 106 crore mark. Recovery rate stands at 98.2%. In ICC Men's T20 Cricket World Cup, India to take on New Zealand in Dubai this evening, Afghanistan to face Namibia in Abu Dhabi. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back to the Midday News on All India Radio. Climate change and environment and sustainable development are the subjects on which G20 leaders will deliberate upon the last day of the summit in Rome today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi along with other world leaders are participating in this summit. Yesterday, the summit had a session on the global economy and global health where G20 leaders expressed their views on the issues. In his intervention, Prime Minister Modi highlighted India's contribution to the fight against COVID-19 and spoke about New Delhi's vision of One Earth, One Health, saying this vision can become a great strength for the world to deal with any such crisis in future. Mr. Modi conveyed that India is ready to produce over 5 billion vaccine doses by the end of next year. A report from our correspondent.
Providing medicines to different countries during COVID-19 period, need for a reliable supply chain and production of COVID-19 vaccines were among the issues which were highlighted by India on the first day of the summit. The Prime Minister talked about furthering innovation in healthcare, the need for resilient supply chains and leveraging technology for human empowerment. He invited G20 nations to make India their partner in economic recovery and supply chain diversification. On the sidelines of the summit, Mr. Modi interacted with various world leaders including US President Joe Biden, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson and German Chancellor Angela Merkel. He also held bilateral meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron, where the two leaders reaffirmed their commitment to cooperate in Indo-Pacific and to find new and innovative ways to contribute towards a free, open and rule-based order in the region. Mr. Modi also held a bilateral meeting with the Prime Minister of Singapore. Divakar, AIR News, Rome.
Today, on the sidelines of the summit, Prime Minister Modi will attend an event hosted by the US President Joe Biden on supply chain resilience. He is also scheduled to hold bilateral meetings with the Prime Minister of Spain and the German Chancellor. Following the G20 summit, Mr. Modi will leave for Scotland's Glasgow, where COP26 Climate Change Summit gets underway today. Mr. Modi will attend the World Leaders Summit of the 26th Conference of Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. The high-level segment of COP26 will be held tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. The heads of state of more than 120 countries are expected to attend the event.
Commerce Minister and India's G20 Sherpa Piyush Goyal has said that India is fulfilling its commitment on climate change. He said New Delhi also cares for developing country on climate change front. In an interview to DD News in Rome, Mr. Goyal said coordinated efforts is the need of the hour to achieve shared goals.
The G20 nations have endorsed India's position that extensive COVID-19 immunization is a global public good. I'm also happy to share with you that we got tremendous support from the G20 nations for our suggestion on mutual recognition of travel documents, including testing and vaccine certificates.
Around 106 crore 18 lakh COVID vaccine doses have been administered in the country so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. Health Ministry said more than 68 lakh doses were administered in the last 24 hours. The ministry said that a total of 12,830 new cases were reported in the last 24 hours. The recovery rate is currently at 98.2%. A total of 14,667 people recovered in the last 24 hours, and total recoveries touched over 3,36,55,000. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold a review meeting with districts having low vaccination coverage on the 3rd of next month at 12 noon through video conferencing. The meeting will include districts with less than 50% coverage of the first dose and low coverage of the second dose of COVID vaccine. Mr. Modi will interact with district magistrates of over 40 districts in Jharkhand, Manipur, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh, Maharashtra, Meghalaya and other states with districts having low vaccination coverage. Nation is remembering former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi on her death anniversary today. In a tweet, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has paid tributes to Indira Gandhi on her death anniversary. Congress President Sonia Gandhi and Congress leader Rahul Gandhi also paid their tributes to Indira Gandhi at the Indira Gandhi Memorial in Delhi. As our nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events are being organized by the government as a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. To commemorate the occasion as a Janotsav, All India Radio News brings its listeners a special quiz on India's freedom movement and its glorious history. The quiz is being conducted every Monday and Tuesday in the morning news since 16th of August. Let's listen to our special program Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News, Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
On 31st October in the year 1875, the country's first Deputy Prime Minister, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, was born. Popularly known as the Iron Man of India, Patel's birth anniversary is celebrated as the Rashtriya Ekta Divas. Born as Vallabhbhai Jhaverbhai Patel in Nadiad, Gujarat, he was one of the 6 children of Jhaverbhai Patel and Ladba.
Vallabhbhai took up a course in law and established a small practice at Godhra. He went to England in 1910 to further study the law. There he worked so hard that he topped in Roman law, securing a prize, and was called to the bar at the end of 2 years instead of the usual period of 3 years.
Vallabhbhai returned to India in 1913, setting up practice in Ahmedabad, and became very successful.
From 1917 to 1924, Vallabhbhai served as the Municipal Commissioner of Ahmedabad, the first Indian to do so. He first came into prominence in 1918 during Kheda Satyagrah.
But his popularity reached pan-India after his successful leadership in the Bardoli Satyagraha in 1928, when he led the landowners in the resistance against increased taxes. His efficient leadership of the Bardoli campaign earned him the title Sardar or leader.
From the year 1930, at the time of Salt Satyagrah, till August 1942, when Congress launched Quit India movement, Sardar Patel was imprisoned several times, sometimes for more than a year.
After India attained independence, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was made the Deputy Prime Minister and was also given the charge of Ministries of Home and Information and Broadcasting. During these tumultuous days, he performed the most intricate and baffling task of convincing more than 560 princely states to join the Indian Union. With the help of V.P. Menon, Sardar Patel drafted an instrument of accession to be signed by the rulers of these states.
But some states, such as Jodhpur, Junagadh, Hyderabad and Kashmir, were either hesitant to join India or not willing. Sardar Patel dealt with them with a strong and determined mind and succeeded in integrating them into the Indian Union. Let us hear an excerpt from one of his speeches. Here, Sardar is talking about the importance of unity in the country.
हमारा कर्तव्य ये है कि हमें निश्चय कर लेना चाहिए कि हमें हिंदुस्तान में जितने लोग हैं सबको मिल के भाई भाई की तरह के रहना है और एक दूसरे के साथ गुरका गुरकी करने से कोई काम नहीं होगा और इस तरह से नहीं करना चाहिए। कोई भी कौम हो, हिंदू हो, मुसलमान हो, सिख हो, पारसी हो, ईसाई हो, सबको यही समझना चाहिए कि ये हमारा मुल्क है, हमें निश्चय करना चाहिए। जितना हो सके हमसे इतना कोशिश करके आपस में मिलजुल के रहने की कोशिश करें।
Sardar was a senior member of the Constituent Assembly and also the chairman of the committees responsible for minorities, tribal and excluded areas, fundamental rights and provincial constitutions.
Sardar Patel was also instrumental in founding the Indian Administrative Service and the Indian Police Service.
His health deteriorated rapidly in 1950. He breathed his last on 15th December, same year at the Birla House in Bombay. Numerous governments and world leaders sent messages of condolence upon his death. His cremation in Sonapur in Bombay was attended by a crowd of 1 million.
In 1991, the Government of India conferred upon him the highest civilian award, Bharat Ratna, posthumously. In 2014, the government announced his birth anniversary to be observed as Rashtriya Ekta Divas.
In 2018, on Sardar Patel's 143rd birth anniversary, Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the Statue of Unity at Kevadia in Gujarat. This statue facing Narmada Dam is the world's tallest and a fitting tribute to the enormous service Sardar Patel rendered to the country.
31st October also marks the birth anniversary of Acharya Narendra Dev. One of the most notable leaders of the Indian socialism, Acharya Narendra Dev was born on this day in 1889 in Sitapur, Uttar Pradesh. He obtained his law degree from Allahabad University and practiced law for some time, but his interests lied in scholastic works, so he became a history teacher at Kashi Vidyapith in 1921.
Later, he became the Vice-Chancellor of Lucknow University and Banaras Hindu University. He was a scholar of history, archaeology, religion, philosophy and culture. Despite the vast range of his studies, his method of teaching was simple. Lal Bahadur Shastri, Kamlapati Tripathi and Chandrasekhar were some of his prominent students.
During the freedom movement, Acharya was often sent to jail. In 1940, when Gandhiji launched Satyagraha, despite poor health, Acharya came forward and went to jail. When he was released in September 1941, Gandhi took care of his health by staying with him in the Sevagram ashram.
Acharya was arrested again during Quit India movement and was released in June 1945. Prison life greatly damaged his health, but it also proved fruitful for his scholastic interest as he got plenty of time for reading and writing.
After independence, when socialists came out of the Congress and formed the Independent Socialist Party in 1948, Acharya resigned as member of UP Legislative Assembly because he thought it was not morally right as he had won the seat on Congress ticket.
Acharya died in Madras on 19 February 1956 at the age of 67. He had made an outstanding contribution to the independence struggle and later to nation building as a teacher, thinker and socialist leader.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow. In ICC Men's T20 Cricket World Cup today, India will take on New Zealand in Dubai at 7:30 p.m. Prior to this, Afghanistan will face Namibia in Abu Dhabi at 3:30 p.m. Today's match is crucial for both the teams and they will go all out to win it. All India Radio is broadcasting ball-by-ball commentary of the World Cup matches. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Nation pays homage to unifier of the country Sardar Patel on his 146th birth anniversary. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says, inspired by the Iron Man Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, India has become fully capable of facing all kinds of internal or external challenges. Home Minister Amit Shah addresses Rashtriya Ekta Divas function in Kevadia, says citizens should work for the unity, integrity and prosperity of the country by walking the path of Sardar Patel. CDS General Bipin Rawat to deliver Sardar Patel Memorial Lecture on All India Radio at 9:30 p.m. tonight. Prime Minister to attend the second session of G20 Summit on Climate Change today, to also hold bilateral meetings with Prime Minister of Spain and German Chancellor. India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage crosses 106 crore mark. Recovery rate stands at 98.2%. And in ICC Men's T20 Cricket World Cup, India to take on New Zealand in Dubai in evening. And with that, we end the midday news.